In the 2018-2019 season, the hottest matchup in the NBA isn't out east when we talk about the likes of MVP frontrunners Kawhi Leonard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, but rather out west in the discussion between whose impact is greater, Russell Westbrook or James Harden. Now, both players are playing phenomenal. They're posting historic numbers. Russell Westbrook is on pace to average a triple-double for the third season in a row, something we have not seen in the NBA. I mean, but the media isn't giving enough attention to it because they have their bias due to Russell Westbrook's abrasiveness. For whatever reason, they don't want to carry it, but what he is doing is very historic. We've never seen anything like this in NBA history, and I mentioned that in my previous video. And also to credit James Harden, we haven't seen a scoring output in the last 13 years since Kobe Bryant's 06 season. We haven't seen a scoring output like this, the way James Harden is doing it. I mean, he had 30 straight games, or 30 games at 30 points or more. Forget which one it is. But, I mean, the guy's averaging 36 a game. The last highest total the NBA seen was Kobe at 35, and that was back in the 06 season, and James Harden is giving us 36 a game, 36 a night. And he has Houston right now sitting as the third seed in the Western Conference. And that's not to say that what Westbrook is doing out of Oklahoma isn't anything, because he has Oklahoma as a top 4 seed in the West too as well. And they're only I think they're about a half a game behind Houston currently. But with all that said, I just want to break down and I just want to hear from you guys, whose impact is greater. So let's get right into it. Now, when you look at Russell Westbrook, obviously, as mentioned earlier, he's averaging a triple-double for the third season in a row. That right there is historic. And on top of that, we have Oklahoma as a top 4 seed out west. That is no easy feat, thanks to Russell Westbrook. But I think what's more important about Westbrook's season is the fact that he has Paul George, who many thought was not going to come back and that he was going to elect to go play with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. But rather, he chose to stay in OKC to play with Russell Westbrook. And Russell now has Paul George in the MVP discussion. I mean, right now, Paul George is the second leading scorer in the NBA, I think at 28 points per game. And that is incredible, especially when you have somebody like Russell Westbrook, who a lot of people try to call him a hog or whatever the case may be. But then I kind of find that a bit crazy, seeing that he's not even the leading scorer on the team. That goes to Paul George. And I mean, 28.2 points per game is, that is not easy. And if you look at it, Russell Westbrook is leading the league in assists. So as a point guard, Russell's doing everything he should. He's not only scoring, he's averaging 23 a game. He's giving you 10.5 assists per game. He's also giving you 10 rebounds a game. I mean, Russell Westbrook is the man of that Oklahoma City Thunder. He is the engine. He's what gets that team going.
The key to the success of the team is Westbrook.
Well, who's more valuable to OKC? Is it Paul George or is it Westbrook?
It's Russell Westbrook. He's been the engine that drives that machine for some years. And here's the thing about it.
And then correct me on the rebounds part, he's averaging 11 rebounds a game. As a point guard. That is no small feat at all. And the only knock that you have on Westbrook is his shooting percentages. That's the only thing they can get. That's the only thing they can knock on him. And on top of all this, Russ is leading that Oklahoma City Thunder team as one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, coupled with the fact that they are the 4th highest point per game scoring team in the NBA at 115.2 points per game. So not only are they one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, they're also one of the best offensive teams. That's why I say Oklahoma City is going to the Western Conference Finals. They're the only threat to the Golden State Warriors. It's just so unfortunate the way that the seeding is set up that we're not going to be able to see a Houston and Oklahoma City matchup. But if they were to match up, I tell you this, Oklahoma will wrap Houston up in 6. Wrap them up in 6. Because Houston is Chris Paul hamstring away from being back to irrelevant. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. Now, for James Harden, now what he's doing is incredible with his scoring and his assist output. He really took Houston on his back with all the injury woes that they had this season, particularly, most importantly, to Chris Paul. He even has Houston now as a 3rd seed out west, just off scoring the basketball. And I mean, he's doing more than scoring. He's playmaking too as well. And what he did this season just goes to show, the talent that James Harden possesses. And a lot of people underrate James Harden. They kind of talk about his efficiency from shooting the ball, and it's just all because of the D'Antoni system. He's taken a lot of shots, and all that is true. D'Antoni system plays a huge part in it. But the fact of the matter is this: D'Antoni system lends himself to having James Harden take that many shots, but James Harden also needs his skill set to be able to produce that. He can shoot the ball, but he still needs to be able to score. I mean, the guy is getting to the free throw line at will. Now, say what you want, all the refs this, but he's gone now, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row of 10 or more free throw attempts. 10 or more free throw attempts for the past 5 seasons. And I don't think D'Antoni had his hand in all of that. I don't think the refs were helping him in all that. I think he almost had 7, if not for the 2013-2014 season. He went to the free throw line about 9 a game, but it would have been 7 in a row. 7 seasons in a row. That's more than half his career in the NBA. He's attempting 10 or more free throw attempts a game. That shows the craftiness that James Harden has. He's a threat. He's an offensive threat, man. That's why he's the reigning MVP. And it's going to take an effort like Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, what they're doing out east, or even Russell Westbrook, who I think should be in the MVP discussion. It's going to take something special like what's going on with those guys, and even Paul George, to be able to dethrone James Harden. James Harden is the best 2 guard in the NBA. He's an all-NBA player, caliber player. All while averaging 36, he's giving you 8 assists a game with 2 steals and 7 rebounds. I mean, that's phenomenal. The guy's getting it done. He's improved defensively, even though a lot of times people talk about his defense, he's definitely improved. And logging the minutes that he's logging, man, the guy's incredible. The guy is truly incredible. And when you talk about other for win shares, he's top 5 in the NBA in win shares. But moreover, in my, when I look at it, and I'm somebody that I appreciate, somebody that plays both ends of the floor, and I just have to go with Russell Westbrook on this. I mean, he's top 10 in defensive rating. He's the best defensive guard, in my opinion, in the NBA at the guard position. I don't see a point guard in the NBA better than Russell Westbrook right now defensively. And I think him being the leader defensively for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think he needs to make it to all-NBA defensive first team. The NBA owes it to him, because I know they're not going to give him first team. They're not, because the NBA now they're just going into a more PC culture type of league, and right now Russ and his abrasiveness isn't lending itself to be so media friendly, so they probably not going to give him the first team all-NBA. But definitely they need it. There's no way in hell they could keep him out of that first team defensive slot. So I gotta go with the guy who does it on both ends of the floor, and I gotta say Russell Westbrook's impact is greater. We've never seen anything like him in the NBA. We haven't seen this type of production in NBA history where somebody's averaging a triple-double for 3 seasons in a row. And on top of that, he has one of his running mates as an MVP candidate. And what's going to be even more special is that if Paul George were to win MVP, let's just say hypothetically, that makes it 2 players that played with Russell Westbrook and won MVP while with him. That will be Kevin Durant and Paul George. And I'm not even going to talk about the fact that James Harden, who also played with Russell Westbrook, which is crazy, is an former MVP winner. So all signs show that Russell Westbrook really does help teams. And take Paul George out of it. Look at what Jeremy Grant and Dennis Schroeder are doing. not really that much of a big role on their team, but he still gets them going. Steven Adams, he still gets him going, putting up points on the board. So I got my take on all this is Russell Westbrook's impact is greater, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So like, comment, and subscribe down below. Until next time.